Always a satisfying experience. A bit of seam sealer. So we seam seal up. Planning on flood the cowling. Got to remove that bolt there before we do that one. It's in the way. Get this on before the rains come. Yeah, let's do these. Ford didn't do these initially, and then they did do them. These bungs here. These are for crash impact setup. Makes the chassis fold up a little easier under impact. So we'll just get our brush on that now. Remove that bolt there and we're good to go. So seam sealing before we do the Gravitex. Say Gravitex, it's Raptor we're putting on. Okay, we'll be right back. It's another day, it's another dollar. Just got caught short in a thunderstorm, came in dead quick. Anyway, what I've been doing today, we've put the seam sealer on this side, as you just saw, that went on, triggered that on. And then I've gone up the back end. I'm sorry I didn't film all this, the storm it caught me short and I kind of like got halfway through. Anyway, we did the same procedure here. We've cut out the damaged section and then used that as a template to cut the donor sill piece. And this side went in a lot better than the others had done. I got a tighter line almost. Didn't use the butt clamps this time. Just managed to get it almost close. This side not as close, but that's ready to put the continuous weld on soon. You can see how tight together that is. It's a really good fit. I had to knock out this little piece of the Welding. That's for the jacking point. The jacking point rear, the saddle here, that was bent upwards if you remember the early videos, because I think someone had just put the jack just on there and not used the bar and tried to lift it on their inboard too much and probably leaving it off. Anyway, I made a new piece of metal was needed for the back, just around that jacking point. The rust wasn't too bad, but it needed a plate at the back, a vertical plate, to meet the edge of the sill here. And also, I put a backing piece in that matches the profile of this shape at the back where this grommet is, where you normally put your wax oil for the sill. Then we've welded just down there, you can see. We're going to grind that back, then drill that hole. I've cut that to that teardrop shape, or that half moon shape there, so that fits in nice. And that's got an L shaped bracket on it which sandwiches between the gap here, so I've put it in properly, and that's all behind it. The jacking point internals were okay. The rust was only up to about there, but I cut a bit further back so I could access the jacking point in case it needed any work. But we're all good to go. The rot wasn't that bad, so that side is stitched up and done. I'm sorry I didn't film that, but it's pretty much similar operation that we've done on the fronts. Cutting with the template, then slotting in. You slightly file it as you go and just keep trying it till you get it. I actually got a better profile this side. It dips in a little bit there, and as I said, that's because these are copy sills. You can get them. I got this a bit better fit. I think I've learned as I've gone along, to be fair. Anyway, I've cleaned all this tub up as well. Got all the under seal off. That was a thankless task, I can tell you. That was a thankless task. But look at the condition. Just look at the condition of this tub. You'll not go blind looking at that, I'm telling you. That's nice. Now that's got a dinner troll rust killer on it, which is overpaintable. Just because I've got caught with this storm and I'm halfway, I didn't want it to flash rust, and I didn't have time to get the red oxide on, and because we're still welding and grinding here, this is just a stopgap. It's a dinner troll converter. It's in an aerosol form. I'll show it you. Here it is. Look, this is pretty nifty. RC900. That's a good quality corrosion and rust converter, amp based primer all in one. That's a nice piece of kit. We might be using that a bit more often, as opposed to using the other dinner troll they call in the rust converter in white. I don't know the difference, you know, between those and those. This seems much more glossy. Anyway, all the tools are away. I close everything back up because it chucked it down. Everything's away, and I'm finishing early because I've got a social event on. So it's Mother's birthday, which cannot be missed. So it's time to leave this. But the bulk of the welding, the good thing about it is we've only got now that quarter, which will be a breeze. The back panel, I've done enough of them. They're not too bad. We'll talk you through that in detail because that's something you Cortina owners might well be tackling. And then this quarter, not as bad. Then this sill, not as bad. We might not need to do anything down there, hopefully. If you can see, we've done the worst side first. So I might even get away with just a small section on this. I might be lucky this side. Let's hope so. Where's that repair I did up here? Is that good? I can't see it. If I do say so myself. Needs skimming in that. I can feel it deviating there. Pete's not done as good a job on the first plate, although it's not bad. We could get that a lot better next time. We're learning as we go. Yeah, I'm going out of it. I'll see you, probably it's going to be the whole weekend's gone now. Papa says good night. Catch you next week. Peace. It's another day on Project Papa. You left me doing the bottom sill, just seconds away from you. And as I said, it went on very nicely. Fixed that corner there. We'll put the hole through now for that bung that goes in. It's a couple of mil over the original size, but I've got the bungs to fit that, the right ones. And then I put a little piece of metal in the corner there, and now we're going to seam seal up. We've put the red bare primer, red oxide on. All that tub got wire wheeled down and it's very clean. There's nothing else to do. There's no repairs, other repairs to do on the tub. It was only that bottom that we had to do, and of course we had to make this shape so it follows nicely. You can see how that's blended in, virtually invisible. That backing plate at the back repair, my fingers are touching it now, little triangle went in, then spot welded back together using the new backing plate for the surface mount point for the repair patch of the sill, so they both sandwich together nice and factory. So very good there. Just want to show you a good little tip. You can pick one of these up. I got this second hand, 20 quid. It's an air powered spray gun, spray liberally, and you can use it to for just little jobs like this without rolling out the compressor. And yeah, you just put your paint in there and away you go. It just works off air power. Very great little piece of kit. So I've put the red oxide on. There's the red oxide. I diluted it down with thinners. It would be too thick normally for this to push it through, so some thinners on it, but dries nice, dries quick, dries nice, and it's hard to scratch off. I've been up to the front where I've put it on at the front, and it's very, very tough. It doesn't sort of scratch off with your nail. You've got to really bite into it, so it's certainly gripped the metal. I think it's going to be a great undercoat for us. What we need to do now, this wasn't done on this car, they must have done it later, but I always seam seal between this seam here. On this car, curiously, wasn't done. I've seen it on other cars not done. I've seen it on cars done. They put the recess in to take the brush and the stroke and, you know, the line of the sealant. You can see the recess here, little moulding, but they didn't seam seal this. I'll be doing that, and a little bit round the bottom of that repair plate here. You see the bottom of that repair plate just down there. I'll be seam sealing that in. That would normally have had an angled edge to that repair plate and it would have met the sill, but there's no need to do it. It's unnecessary. So seam sealer's going on, and then we're going to mix up the Raptor colour code. I'll show you that in a minute. That's a colour coded stone guard. Raptor's a 2-pack system as opposed to your, say, your Gravitex or Schutz where it's coming straight out the tub. The Raptor is 2-pack mix, and it's quite hard and tough stuff, and you can colour code it to the car's body. So we've gone for tawny brown. Strictly speaking, on this car it wouldn't have been colour coded, just done it in factory black. Later cars were over painted on the stone guard. So it's a slight mod there, but it's an improvement. I know that there'll be some welding, just a couple of welds just on the edge of this lip. The lip's good. When we fit that lower quarter, and we may damage that paint finish by doing that weld there if we can't get the spot welder in. We're going to have to grind back, but I don't want this to start rusting, so this area will have to be re-treated once the repair goes in, up to about here, that section. So any paint I've done just on that inner lip will have to get redone. But that's okay. I just wanted to get this out of the way. The other reason I've done this now is, although I've got a litre which I think will only just do the front, if there was more left in the can, because it's expensive, I'm going to put the rest onto this tub. But I might find that the 1 litre does all of it. I think it's about 3 metres squared coverage, which really should just be the front. However, there may be some left, in which case it goes on the back. If not, this stays in red oxide until we've done the other wheel tub, and then the pair get the Raptor treatment, if you can follow that. So I'm going to get some seam sealer on with the brush. I won't film that bit. Put it in. I use seam sealer out of the nozzle variety as opposed to the can. I'll show you some now coming into the car. No, is it in the car? The Raptor's in the car. All Jurassic parked there. So we're very Jurassic Park in there. Here it is, it's waiting for you, for your viewing pleasure. There it is, let's grab it anyway. Here's our seam sealing brush as well. Let's get everything. Seam sealing brushes, keep them in thinners until you're finally done, because they clog up and they're hard to get hold of. Seam sealer brushes, they're a stiff bristle brush. So the seam sealer Pete uses, it's this one, Auto Seal seam sealer. In the cartridge then. Still enough to do this tub in this cartridge, and that'll be spent, dispensed, finished, done. So apply on with a trigger all the way around, then one brush, a little bit extra down at the bottom because it's a mud trap, and we're good to go, folks. Good to go. Did I say I wasn't filming this? Well, just so happens the camera was able to be held whilst we applied. Maybe not so much when we get to the top section, but you get the idea what I'm doing. In we go, silence then, all the way round. Yeah. Some excess there, we'll scrape that off, the excess, and we are done. Okay, here's the Raptor I was telling you about, tintable to your specified colour. In our case, it's Ford's tawny brown. So you get 100ml of that and the activator. So you pour in, the activator won't do it just yet till the gun's lined up. Pour in it, oh no, we're going, we're ready to go. What are we on about? Whoops, we missed a bit. We're in the shadows because of the high exposure. Right, the trick is to shake like hell. Shake like there's no tomorrow. Make sure it's really, really, really mixed. Spend a good 10 minutes shaking this up. Learn from experience. We do the shaker maker on this now, and that tints your Raptor and pimps your ride. Put that away. I've got every last drop out of the tint. Tawny brown, there's the code. Right, so get the shuts gun ready, which is coming across to your screen now. There is the gun. Just draining the water out of the compressor before I start. Always drain your compressor down. They collect water. There's a drain tub, drain screw on the bottom of your compressor if you're not using a filtered system. If you're amateur DIY, just stops water droplets appearing when you're doing a paint finish. Okay, yeah, because the compressor, by nature, when you compress air, you get water and moisture drawn out of the air, collects in the tank of your compressor. There's a drain screw on the bottom. Get rid of it. See you in a sec. Okay, we're done there, and one tub, 1 litre gives us just enough for both wings, both inner wings, and just a little bit of the back. I'll show you. So we've got that. It's a nice finish. I think we're drying already, or curing already. If it's a 2-pack hardener, it's curing, isn't it? It'll take another coat, a light coat, so we're going to get another litre, but that'll do us the back tubs and the second coat on here. So that's the first one on, and I can just see a couple of just areas where you can see the red primer poking through, perhaps that lower lip there. But it only needs a light second coat. It does recommend a second coat. So that's a nice factory finish. Just giving you time to view it there on your big screens. Little Newt watching there. And into the back tub. So there's that seam we just put on. You can see, just indistinguishable from factory, I would have said. See how you get that? And then down there where the bung will go, that's for spraying the wax oil, spray liberally into the sill. Let me know if you want a spray liberally t-shirt. They're coming out soon. Got your spray liberally t-shirts. Available in the Cortina City shop soon, along with some Crazy Chris merchandise we're going to be putting in as well. Some Crazy Chris t-shirts. Even put a little bit on the tub that had already been cleaned back. Now, it hadn't been scraped that one, it had been jet washed on very high power, and it was not coming off, so it wasn't any harm just to cover the tub as well, and a little bit of the chassis leg there too. So yeah, we've not gone concourse, as you know, but we're making tidy work, and that's what this project's about. I think it's going to be more of £1,000 budget than 500. Think of your budget and double it. I think it's fair to say. I think you'll agree on that one. Get your budget and double it. Now you can see the red. I don't know if it picks up on camera here. No, because the light's on it. So that's ready for definitely second coat is needed on that. Again, looking factory there. But this side definitely backwards, definitely needs another one. And hobby weld then for the gas. I was using BOC till I got a bill for nearly £300, and I haven't even used the gas for, you know, properly since Ash's car. And we got stung. They've stung us for rental, late fees, bottle rental, account on stop fee. I've never seen so many charges, fees and nasty stuff from BOC in my life. They're on you like a ton of bricks with debt letters and all sorts. So they can have the bottle back. I'll pay them up and they can have it back with pleasure, and I'm going to use hobby weld from now on. Should have used them in the first place. Wow, don't get a bottle from BOC if it's occasional use. You're wasting your money. It's got to be hobby weld or a disposable bottle. I'd say hobby weld's the best. The disposable bottles don't like, they've got the capacity to me. Half the size of that on a disposable bottle, and you're chucking something away. These at least getting refilled. This hobby weld bottle came with the welder and it was full, so I was lucky there. So when that's gone down, we shall be getting another one. That'll probably do the car, so we're not going to need it, but it's nice to know that hobby weld are out there. We're not affiliated with them, I'm just letting you know. So okay, we are done there. We've got wings to do, of course. I don't know what I'm going to do about the wings. They're over here. Let's have a look then. What are we going to do about the wings? What's the condition of these wings? Actually, that'll repair. That needs dipping. Right, we're going to have to dip that wing. It's a shame because we're going to lose the original paint. That's a shame. Can we repair it? like it is. Probably get a plate in there. Let's see. I'll jet wash this out because there's a load of mud in the crevice. I'll jet wash it out. It's rusted at the top there as well. Don't know what to do about this wing. The other one's gone. Top half is not, probably would repair as well. That's had filler in it. What if that was from the crash? I have got a new old stock wing. We're going to have to give it some thought. The wings need to be in the pipeline really. We need to be thinking about them all the time. The engine as well. I'm waiting for that to arrive. I mean, I was hoping to be mobile by now, so I wasn't actually doing this work here, but as it happens, because it's summer, it's so much better working outside with paint and weld fumes. I absolutely hate welding fumes. I absolutely hate paint fumes. My body just totally rejects them fumes. As soon as I get even a whiff of thinners, I feel awful. It takes days. I lose all my energy. It drains me because your body's fighting all the chemicals. As the older you get, the harder it is. And that's one of the reasons why I can't be doing this forever, because you've got to say to yourself, well, you know, unless you've got massive facilities of extraction systems, dust filtration and everything, then you're into money for premises, and there's just no revenue stream from this. So this is hobby only, and working outside on the last few months with this has helped me a lot because there's no build up of dust and fumes. So it really does help. About the most you get is when you're inside here welding the floor, but even then you can put the windows down and you're pretty well ventilated. I must admit, when I was doing this patch on this side, it's a bramble ramble I think, isn't it? When I was doing this patch on this side, we're not finished yet by the way, got to weld up, some of the fumes did come in from underneath, obviously because they rise. So the tar that's not scraped off underneath, I don't think there's any point scraping it off because A, it won't catch fire, and B, I'm not indoors, so the fumes can just escape into the air. But they did get into the cab. I had a headache for 3 days. A headache just off the tar smell for 3 days. And I felt awful. Really, really tired and run down. Almost like, you know, the chemicals are in your bloodstream. I might be exaggerating that. That's how I felt anyway. I still enjoy it, don't get me wrong. I just think, you know, I'd have to be doing this outside. Now, welding inside the workshop on a non-dipped shell is difficult. It's not as bad on a dipped shell because you don't get the same amount of the combination of chemicals burning. You only get the metal itself because it's totally clean. So that's manageable. Even that's too much, you know, with the door open, it's still too much. But anything that's not been dipped and you're inside like a shed in the winter, I feel for you, because those tar pad fumes, they're just the worst. You just don't know what it's in it. It's just not worth it, you know. You've got to really think about fumes. Perhaps you could come up with a really good localized extractor that just absolutely sucked away every single thing as you're working, almost, you know, like a big vacuum cleaner. That might work. But I certainly, next time if I ever did this and I was ever indoors, I would certainly be considering fumes on the absolute maximum priority list, and wouldn't be tackling the job until that was addressed. You know, I've monitored it, and I noticed, I say, that headache. So anyway, yeah, that's it. A bit of a health and safety ramble. We have got welding to do in here, so, you know, there are going to be some fumes. This would actually, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, that'll spot weld together and get sandpaper between it. I actually hadn't prepped that. I don't know why I missed that. Maybe I was rushing, or maybe because I was expecting that you do the welds. It's certainly at that point the welds go on. Here there's probably is spot welded. So what I'll do, I'll get the sandpaper between there and clean that really good. Then I'll connect that up with a spot welder. It'll look a lot better. I don't know why I never thought of that. I probably did actually. It's probably why it's left, and it has been. I have crock sanded it actually. What am I on about? I have crock. Look, it's clean. I don't know. I'm talking about half the time. It's ready for spot welding. Let's get it done. Blooming heck. I'm crazy. Right, time to spot weld. I've cleaned the ends of the spot welder, so the parallel. I know these have been done, but I'm just doing them again with a clean tip. So I noticed the tip wasn't clean, and it was making like an uneven spot weld. So it's a lot better now. Boom! Hell yeah! They are nice spot welds. Very nice and deep spot welds those. I'm nearly there. Right, I'd already prepped this. Hell yeah. So there's some fumes then I'm talking about rising up. But we're outside, it's not too bad. Last few spot welds now. Monster. They are monster welds. Well, it just goes to show cleaning up your tips is very important on a spot welder. They are just monster. I don't think it'll go through the final section because it's triple or quad layered. I don't think we'll get through here. Let's try. A long shot, but it might do it. Oh yeah! Blitzed it! He destroyed it! Wow, did you see that? Sort of foot like a traction engine, this spot welder. Striker! Goal! I might get one more in. Hell, push the boat out, I'll get one more in there. Get that under seal out. Let's go for the last one. I'm on a roll. Oh yeah! Come on. This one's not going without a fight. Hold on, we'll get it. Oh yeah! Wow, that's bringing out the. That absolutely blitzed it. Whew, Smoking Joe. I'm out of the way. Talk about fumes. What did we say? Wow, that really did just destroyed it. The power, the pure power. Wow, solid as a rock. Yeah, it burnt the sealant. There was that much heat, burnt the sealant. It shows you how strong the spot welder is. It's really, really good. Oh, I'm extra made up with that repair now. Wow, that is solid. All we've got to do is get that nice and neat line of welding there. A little bit on the floor, little patch there. Croc sand that up, smack that in home, put the seam seal around there, smack that home, and you're good to go. Oh, some seam sealer down here after we clean the welds up. Very nice. Okay, back for another day, and I'm on the offside now, wheel tub, just cleaning it up. So it's old under seal off, it's a bit flaky, so it's best to take everything off, and then looking at the damage then. So down we go into this corner, just the edge of it really. So some little bits of metal to go into there. Sill damage on this side, about the same as the other side, you can see it there. Just wire wheel back as far as I can see before the rust and the rot seems to stop. So it's pickled, so we need to be slicing out and putting another repair section in there. And then a little bit more than the other side, we've got this lower quarter corner's gone there. You can see that quite clearly on your screens. So that needs a shape piece putting in. And it's a double skin here. You've got your outer lower quarter meeting the inner wheel tub shape, and the petrol tank shot to sugar. I thought it might have just been here where the damage was on the tank, but it's not. It's a big hole at the back, that big killer hole at the back. Huge hole. Look at that. Huge hole in the tank. Tank is shot. So we've got a couple of areas to be going at. There's, well, three areas. That lower there. That inner repair, which we do when this sill is extracted off. So we need to drill the spot welds on the bottom so it breaks away for the inner floor edge, staying clean. Slice across there, then break away the welds where it attaches to the inner tub, so you can get that piece extracted clean. So we need a clean extraction there. You can see the damage, folks. So we need to get busy. We're going to get the spot weld drill bit. I don't know which bit to do first. I think I'd like to do, well, I normally go from front to back, so really should do this bit first and finish on the back. So I'll do that. Start by slicing the sill out and getting it in. Here we go. So you're going to see some cuts going on. Removal of the old sill, or at least a section of the old sill. Project Pappa then offside underway. Okay, we are in a new metal situation. I've had to make a repair patch for the lower section. You remember I just investigated it, so I've cut away this lower quarter, which is getting replaced anyway. At least a section of it is. Probably up to about here, there, that was rotten. So, the inner panel, inner lower quarter, 2 holes, but they're pretty easy to do. I've gone back to where the metal's solid. 2 patches to go in there. This piece that you see now is a flat piece I made, and then spot welded a serrated plate that was able to compress and curve round to create a lip effect. You can see it better inside here. You see how it makes that lower lip. And there's a weld line goes on it, and dress the weld up. There's some serrations here, but I've welded the serrations back together, then hammered it into a curved shape. What you get is the lower section of the wheel tub recreated. And then it's a butt weld up to the top. There's one slight overlap I've left to keep the line, so I could keep that line in shape. Well, I want that lip just hammering flat once I've welded, but that's ready to weld on. It attaches to the inner quarter, the inner quarter panel lower. It attaches there. I had to break the original spot welds when I took the rotten metal off. We'll just weld through there. 2 patches, weld that on, go along on the top, and then plug weld 2 or 3 plug welds down the bottom, and that section fixes the tub, doesn't it, Smokey? Oh yes, it does. What? He just whacked the gimbal. The cat's just head-butted the gimbal. Whoa! The cat, Smokey's head-butted. You head-butted the gimbal, lad. Hey! He's head-butted the gimbal. We better get the welder out. 2 patches to go in, please. Okay, let's go. Okay, them patches are in. That one's ground back and almost invisible. This one in. Plenty of good metal around there. Didn't blow through at all, so that was good. Little hole there, that's where the spot weld tore out when I removed that old piece of metal. Might not have to take that because I could spot weld from the back on that one, and then it'd create a nice finish for the plate. So we might plug from the back and just about get the welding torch in for that one. So we're gonna crock sander that back. Crock sander that back there. That's invisible then. Then we can offer up the plate. I've got the plate off. You can have a closer look at the plate. See what we made. You can see how that's shaped as the lower piece of wheel tub. So it was a triangle, and then we cut serrations folded it, but I shaped it before I removed the actual excess, the damaged metal. I bashed this into it to create the shape once I'd done the serration, so it kind of like self-formed itself, and you can see how it fits. Look, in there it goes, quite nice. Let's see, let's just get you in view there, like that. Okay, so I think you probably will forget that's there soon. That'll blend in very nice. Right, I'm going to get this done before the weather changes. Pete C is racing on. Pappa then, Pappa. Okay, that corner repaired now. Nicely done. Time to fit this section. That's all done, filled, looking good. Let's get this on now. In we go. We're going to weld that on. That going in nice there. So we'll carry on that weld now. And then a couple of plugs there. And that's that. A couple along the edge. And that's that triangle done, everybody. Okay, I've just cut off this piece of sill. We've jumped straight to the sill section now. You can see where that's pickled. Now it was it's rotting away. So cut up to there and it looks good so far. There's a storm coming in, so I've got to be quick. But you can see inside the sills there's plenty of original primer. So there's a little repair to do on the inside. That's done there. So that's all repaired. And that piece, as you remember, we've done. So that's all fixed. So we've just got to work our way on through here, and then once we've done that end and this little repair down here, we can then prime and give this the Raptor as well, and that'll conclude the Raptor, and it will conclude the welding, I think, until we do the back sections. We've got to wait for the panels for those. I'm going to tool down now, get some food. I'll catch you tomorrow. Okay, a little break and we're back. I left you doing this little repair here. Let's just turn the weld off. I think we're done for welding for now. Switching off. Let's talk you through it then. So we were just going to tackle this area. There's the donor sill. It's now given up its section that we needed. So to get that cut right, I use the old piece that I cut off and then line it up and draw around it, then cut just on the line. You've got to remember, if you put this over, not to have the end cap overlapping this, because it will be too short then. You've got to cut the end cap off the old sill piece and put it in level with it like that, so that this length's correct. In other words, if you're over doubling it, you're shortening that end. Okay, anyway, that's handy to use to get that line horizontally for you now, that line there. And then when you offer it up, if you've done it all right, it fits in like this, and in our case looks on our side, or whatever we want to call it, and it's absolutely snug. You can see that line stays straight all the way. I've got to push up that end, but that closes up with about a couple of mil. Here it's almost touching, that's fine, the weld will just burn through, and that makes a nice profile. Okay, so once you've got that, with this area open, you can then repair the damage inside, and there was damage inside around the jacking point, so it needed a plate in here and it needed a plate here, and that plate continues down. We don't cut it yet till we learn where the sill's going to land, because that forms part of the spot weld to the bottom lip of the sill. You don't want to cut it too short, so basically you put this piece all on and ready, then mark it when this is clamped up tight against the lip, and then cut that, and then that's your spot weld clamp. You won't spot weld it till you've got some welds going here. So you get your tacks in first. Once you've got enough tacks in, you can then clamp using the these jaws here. You would clamp that repair sill patch in place. Then what you do, once you've got your tacks are in, you'll find that the bottom lip of the sill is hanging down a bit. And what you do once it's clamped is you tap it with the hammer, and because it's clamped, it'll lock in position, and the hammer will make it go flush with the lip. You'll find then the discrepancy in the sill contour profile slightly different because it's a pattern sill. You've got to adapt with that. You might have to slit and skim in. You'll not get that to go with a copy sill exact. It just, the profile is just, pressing's just not the same. It's not far off, to be fair. So once you've got yourself set up, you take it all off again, and you're happy with everything here, and that the jacking point's solid and de-rusted. Usually what you find is this plate's gone at the end, which is that plate you can see there is part of the wheel tub, or would have been part of the tub, and the tub comes down. It's in two halves, the tub, but they're usually supplied welded together, the two halves. Sometimes you've seen them in just a half piece. But that goes all the way down. Where that circle is now, that inspection bung for the sill, it's actually blocked up now because that plate blocks it up. You re-drill it after. Would carry on going down like that, in that shape. Can you see how I've cut this piece of metal here? There, I've cut that to the inner profile of the sill, and it has an L bracket on it, or an angle going inwards, which we weld to the repair plate we've put in, so the whole thing becomes one piece. It actually connects to this, so that would have been this shape coming all the way down, so you'd actually have even more coming here down, and it would be a kind of like a complete scalloped piece, rather like how I've repaired this back end of it here, which we did yesterday, where we've done that, and we've made a sort of scallop shape, if you will. That's designed to go on the inside of the inner wing when it's fitted, so that'll be here. You can see that, we're gone there. But we're not going to make this piece all part of that. There's just no advantage to it. It's just going too far for what we're doing here. If you was going concourse, what you'd have to do is make this bottom piece. Really, someone should make them as repair panels. It'd be handy to have them. Now, the only way you'd ever know about that, if you had the car at a show or something, is you'd have to start feeling it inside here with your fingers. It'd be very difficult to actually know. You'd finger down until you felt a ridge, and the ridge would then land onto the inner lip of this, if you see what I mean. Look, if you can see, you'd feel a ridge. I can feel it now, and you'd know that that tub is not continuing down into the pocket of the lower pocket of the outer sill. That's the only way you'd know that that hasn't been done. You can see how good this fit is. I haven't even tried, and it just slots straight up into there. Look at that. Boom, boom. Look at that. Look at that wiggle. That's nice repair. That's a nice section. I've cut that good. I think there was a bit of luck on my side there, to be fair, folks, or I'm just getting used to doing it. I think the worst one was the front there. I just basically getting back into it, I suppose. I soon picked it back up again, and we're soon back on full octane at Cortina City for Project Papa. So I've dressed round where the weld's going to be so it doesn't spit, and also you mustn't forget, clean the inside lip of the sill, and then put the weld through primer on it, and clean that side of the sill and the back side of the floor edge, so that when the spot welder clamps come together, everything's clean, because we're spot welding the lower section here, and then we're tacking that, of course. So I'll do that tomorrow. just so I'm not rushing. I think I'll be rushing at approach 8 o'clock tonight if I start getting involved in this. So I'm going to put everything away now, tools down. We are working in the rain and the wind, but I don't mind. You know, I mentioned it earlier on that I actually enjoying working outside. It would only work in summer. Of course, as soon as it got below, you know, 15 degrees, it's getting a bit too cold, and of course you can't work outside in the winter effectively. It's just not the right way to do things. I mean, I know people do it, tarpaulins up, but how do you work and weld if it's raining? I mean, you know, you can't. You've got to have some kind of covers. Lucky. The biggest thing for me, as I said this before, is there's no fumes, and I really cannot cope with fumes any longer, or dust, or grinding dust, and you tend to just in the open air get away with a lot more than you would do in an enclosed space. So I've enjoyed it from that point of view. Welding's coming to an end on Project Papa soon, other than the lower quarters and the back valance. That's been ordered from Express Steel, all 3 components, so left and right lower quarter repairs and the back valance. We're hoping that the inner valance is local patch repairs only. I think it will be. I think it'll have holes in it, but we'll be able to make it because it looks good under there from what I've seen. Nice solid work here then. What we could do with doing is blowing the sills out, because I can feel mud and grime in there. Look at that. We need to blast that out while we've got the chance. Let's have a sneaky peek inside. Come on, let's go inside and have a look, see what's inside there. What awaits inside there? Can we see anything? Can you see anything at home on your TV screens, folks? I can't quite see. You've probably got an advantage. There's the inside of the sills then. I can see the B-pillar inner support bracket looks intact, looking upwards, looking good. In fact, I'll now take over if that's all right with you. Let me have a look. I can see a bit of dust and grime, but no, that's looking all right. That'll go well with that's going to go well with some rust-proofer and some Dinatrol in there. Look, that's not a rot box in there, is it? That's in a lot worse than that. So I think we've cut out the rot. You can see why it wasn't really worth taking all the sill off and spoiling this lovely original top finish here, where it's basically not got any rot, has got hold. Once we get our products into here, we're going to be able to freeze this in time. So whatever rust it's got now will be locked and frozen in time to a larger degree. So we'll get these absolutely blasted with the right products. It's going to need a very thin rust creeping cavity liquid in there first to get into the capillary into those edges, especially here. And it's going to need some heavier wax oiling and stuff. But if we can get moving and fast enough on this project and get it on its wheels and get the engine in and get it moving and get it wax oiled and get it undercover somewhere, I think we've achieved a great project. Do you know what? You could do it a panel at a time, couldn't you? You could paint a door, bolt it on, wait a couple of weeks, paint another door, bolt it on, you know. The Gravitex then, the Raptor then, first coat, holding out and rock solid, rock hard finish. So yeah, I'm going to go in. I'll catch you tomorrow when we put this final patch on, and that'll. Do you know what? That's probably the hardest of the repairs done and out of the way. I think this back quarter's nothing like as complicated as that. You're making a slice. You're pulling some spot welds out. In fact, most of that is just cut off, especially because the back valance is also coming off. So it'll be cut and probably just rock it a bit, drill the bottom spot welds. That'll then expose the probably damaged inner piece, the inner rear section, the inner rear valance panel. It's not that bad because the place where if it's gone, it'd have gone here. And remember, I put 2 patches in. You can't see them now. Put 2 patches in there. Don't worry about that over lip there. That's not seen. I could skim that out if I wanted, but bear in mind this is going to be covered. That's where we've formed that scallop shape. You don't see it on this side. It's neat on the inside. It's a bit ugly where those spot weld folds go, but that's how I made that scallop panel. Remember, it was like a claw type cut, like a clamshell type cut, and then crimped into the existing metal to get the shape, and then bent over and spot welded, then seam welded between. It's just really, to get it looking really good, you'd skim that over, but the panel comes in there, you know, and then it's going to be caked in wax oil. You can see why these rot. If you look at this gap here, you can see that's a moisture trap, and that's why they always rot out on that piece, just around that section. This is the worst part for rust on a Cortina at the back, is between there, because most people don't get the wax oil wand and push it right into here. They tend to forget that bit, and that's why they rot out. It gets attacked from that side, but it actually attacks it from the back first, would you believe, rather than here, because people tend to wash those down. I mean, yeah, this edge catches the dirt, but these actually rot from the back in that the moisture trap in there. That's how they go. So yeah, we're looking neat. Have a look at that, see what you think. We've got to drill a hole through it, of course, and well, my hole drill's about 2mm diameter wider than that, so, but it doesn't really matter. Now, who's going to come round and measure that inspection bung hole? It's ridiculous, you know. How far do you go? Do I go to Screwfix? In fact, actually, I remember going for Project Bramble. You can't get that size in the hole cutter. It jumps another 2mm. So that's my get out on that one. Anyone wants to come round to this car when it's at a show and measure the bung in the end of the sill, then I think you need to be investigating things in your life. You really do. But it's like the guy that said Bramble will drive down the road crabbing because Pete's built it on a jig with no support, and that it'll crab, you know. Absolute garbage. The axle on Bramble bolted straight on with with no alignment. I mean, people talk absolute crap sometimes, and it's basically jealousy. They're just picking at you. And, you know, they've got the advantage because you've shared yourself on YouTube and they haven't. You don't know what botches they're up to. They're probably covering their own backs and projecting it onto you. But enough of that. Let's move on. See you tomorrow. Okay, we're all in there. What we've got to do now, we'll get your flap disc on it now rather than the crock sander. Flap disc saves belts on the crock sander. That's the 4 something inch grinder with a flap wheel on it, and that'll take that off. It's quite a flush surface. A little bit where it sticks out here, we just knocked that in. I told you about the profile mismatching on these. We'll get it in the body shop with a filler. Can skim off this plate now. That's spot welded on. There's the shape for the jack. That goes straight in. So that's good. Jacking point was good, as you know. Got to drill a hole for the inspection bung. I've made a modification as well on this car. I've put 20mm inspection holes at the front of the sills on the inner wing area, so you can push your wax hole tube in a lot easier without having to take carpets out and have to feed a tube in from both ends. In fact, you could point the shuts gun in and it'll blast halfway from this way and halfway from that way. The shuts gives a much bigger fan than the tube, but there's 2 options there you've got. So I don't know why I never did that anyway. You should have an inspection hole at that end of the sill. It would have saved a lot of rot. Flat wheel next for this. I'll grind that down. You don't need to see that, but there we go. Got most of it. Okay, that repair is done and dressed up. We're pretty good actually there. As I say, where the profile changes, there's a little bit to get with the skim. That bit's pretty flush. It dips in a little bit here, but you'll get that. So that's done. That repair's in, so that's all repaired. Just need to drill this hole for the inspection bung. That's all done. This can have the paint on it next, and we can finish off the Raptor. Just gone round, tidied up the rest of the welds. So this side, just finished the welding on that and tidied that up because that was just stitched on. It needed to be finished. Again, that's V'd in. There's a little V. It's probably, if I'm tapping it and stuff, you just get it folds. It's inevitable. But along that edge, because you've still got that top edge, you've got a line to go off and you skim straight across. This tub's done, of course. We did that. There's the inspection hole this side, remember. Then the floor pans here, just tidying up the welds. Welded together that piece, that inner silver patch repair. Of course, there's a profile difference here because that's copy. We'll live with that. It was spot welded in, as you saw. I've gone for the top tacks on this because I can't get spot welder in. Didn't want to plug it because that is, believe it or not, a factory join. I mentioned that before. Some were welded on the top like that. Here, dressed up and ready for the seam sealer to go on. That's all the welding done. We've got some dressing up to do that side, and then that's the last of the grinding. I'm glad that the grinding's finished with, because you're pushing a look with a noise. So I'm glad that's done. So I can take a little bit of a break after this section. Once that's in and the paint's on all the vulnerable areas, I'll take a break off because we've gone quite fast. We've hammered it, to be fair. I've ordered the parts for the back, the panels for the back end, so we have hammered it. I'll get a skim on because it's best skimming when you've got bare metal, so I'll get that on, and then I'll show you that inspection hole. I thought it'd be a good idea to put them there. I hope that's not going to get in the way. So 20mm rubber bung goes in and you can blast through even with a wing on and get your wax oil in from time to time, top it up. That's the most vulnerable part, but must get a rubber bung in there so it'll fill with muck. Okay, see you in a sec. I'm just going to have a little commercial break. We're here with a dinner trowel. This is the cavity protection. It's called ML. It's a brown finish, and this is the thinner stuff. It can virtually be put on at room temperature. You don't have to heat this stuff up like the 3125, but because we've made those two holes in the back of the sills, well, there's one factory hole, of course, this end, you saw it getting done in the welding video, and now we've got one at the front. This gun should, as you can see, that makes a mist which will get all the way to the end, and that'll mist up inside the sill, and it'll start to drip out of the sections, the drain holes of the sills. And then once we've done that, we'll probably coat it with 3125. This will get the entire sill section done in one hit, both sides dead easy. Watch this. Here we go. Straight in. Spray, boy. There it goes. Spray liberal. Pouring out the front there. Let's go down this end. Pouring out the front. Oodling out the front. Oodling out the front. Spray. Lovely. Hit it. Oh yeah, get that in. Goodbye. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. That does it really. Yeah, ML. Plenty for the other side. It's pouring out now. You don't want too much coming out. We're done really. Yeah, we're done there. That's that. Well, it's no wonder the door bottoms rot. Hang on, let me recenter you. What you got in there, I just blasted it out like this with the air nozzle. There's a ton of crud, loads of it. Come on, Henry. Yeah, it's no wonder they rust. So you get dust and gunk and just debris building up in that gap there. Center again. Wherever it is. There. And then it just gets, then that holds the damp. So you get dry debris first, and then it rains. And then that holds the damp, then the damp attacks through the paint, micro blisters the paint finish, then it's off and then your door skin's rotting. And they always rot from the front corner first. Probably the worst trap up here. And then the other corner as well goes. So they go in the corners first. So we've blasted out, and now what I'm going to do before I put the cavity wax in, I'm going to rust convert it with this. This is the RC900, and this will rust convert before we go anywhere else. let that go off for a few hours, and then blast it with a cavity, then finish with a 3125. So each door needs this treatment. These doors are really good. We've caught them in time. So we need to do that. We also need to do the A panel here. That's done from the inside. The B panel as well, because these rot in that corner there, starts to build up in that corner there. Again, because this car's been in a dry climate, this hasn't happened, similar to South African cars. UK cars probably all gone by now. Just the damp as well. You get condensation, even if you say you're keeping your car out of the rain, unless your garage is warm. So it might be undercover in a garage. If it's a cold garage, it condensates and then it rots anyway. I've seen them come out of concrete garages completely rotten. There's no guarantee. Unfortunately, your only way is to heavily treat your car, and do it in the summer when the whole shell is hot. Don't do it in the winter. Get the shell hot and dry, and then apply all these procedures I'm doing here, so that you're putting it onto bare metal. Get your compressed air in and blast the debris out. There's no point putting wax into the car. If you're waxing on top of dirt, it's not going to do the job. You've got to get it out with a compressed air line. Got to take your door cards off. Then hit it and convert the rust with this spray. Spray liberally. It's not cheap though, so you can't really spray liberally with this. Anyway, we do that. Poof! Whoa! We'll drop them outside. We'll get on with this now, and then let that cure. Then I'll put the cavity in. This door's in good shape, but it does attack it from this lip as well. So you get it, even though you've gone inside, it creeps down this gap here, because there's no seal on that. That's just folded metal, so it can get in there too and rot from there. So we're going to hit this with this as well, and that's going to creep in and arrest the rust. We've just caught it in time, and this will do a really good job. Tell you what, it's a good job we're on these doors. They wouldn't have lasted a winter. This was just full of mud. It looks clean now, but it wasn't. All down there was a big damp patch, even though it's a dry day today. All up here was all damp. It was just convecting up, not convecting up, just capillarying up. And this channel was completely full of like just soil. So as the air gun to blast it out, it's still drying out. You can see why you've got no chance if you don't do this job. You know, English cars, if this channel's not completely clean, and it's going to fill up with mud. You know why? Because debris comes in from the window channel straight down. There's no way out. That's the way it is. That's how they're designed. If this car's raining, water has come straight through the door. There's no way it seals. None of them do, even from brand new. That will not seal. So, you know, your doors are designed to pass the water through, straight through them. Unfortunately, what happens is, not only do you pass the water through, but you get eventually crud build up. It's inevitable. Could be dust from a sandstorm, could be leaves, moss, anything, and eventually over the years, bump, you're built up. And then what happens? It retains the moisture even throughout the summer. It'll stay moist and start to rot, and all because the lady loves milk tray. All because these aren't clean. Now we get these mega clean now, and then we can treat them. Done all the other doors, they've all been done. This one was filthy too. Now done. The good thing about this car is this, we've saved it in time. Well, it would have survived quite a long time where it was. But as soon as you get it to the UK, time bombs ticking straight away. These door switch wire plugs are great for getting in the B pillar, so blast straight into there. They're great to fill the B pillar up with the the ML. Use ML. Reason you use ML on this one, hang on, the reason you use ML here is because you need it to creep into this gap. A thicker rust proofer won't get in and seal underneath there. We're hoping it's even going to come out at the edges eventually. So we've blasted loads in. It should be a swimming pool full there. I think some is coming out now. So that's an important one. Not so much up to that level. I've never seen them rocked above there, although they can, but rare you get that. This is drying out nicely. We'll be ready to put the rust killer in first, then the ML, then the 125. So yeah, that's what you gotta watch out for if you've got a Cortina. This is what's going on. Time bomb. And don't say you're dry storing it unless it's in a temperature controlled garage. No, you're not, because it'll just condensate in the winter, that is, and that'll just form, especially if you've not cleaned the channel. I mean, you've got a fighting chance. I'm not saying you can store in a garage if you first clean out, vac out, rust treat, cavity wax, then final wax. Losing me. Okay, well I'm cleaning up for the day. Tools are all away. Takes you half an hour to get the tools away. I've skimmed over, then just primed, stop it rusting. All that'll get taken back anyway when these are profiled in properly, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. We'll definitely lose that. That'll blend in really well. All of them are good. So just a light skim in, and then just primed over all sides. Also finished the floor here. So we're colour coded in. We've got Tawny Brown in a rattle can. So we've seam sealed the repair. We did the inner floor. So that's seam sealed in. It's all nipped in at the top. And the seal comes down continuous. I peel back the rest of the seal so it's continuous line. Even I can't tell that's been done. So you may as well do it. Here it's the seam brush goes over. I'll just drag that back because I'm cutting that sound pad out on a neat square line. So I'll redo that little bit, but I just wanted to just get this main area just to lock it all in. There was no point filling that inner seal, so it was flush. So all I did was I just brushed that over the seam seal. It was very neat. So you could have skimmed that. So that's it. That bit's done. Doors are all cleaned and wax oiled now. That'll keep the rust at bay for a bit. B pillars have also been injected. Started cleaning the boot floor area up. Those quarters that we're going to be getting come in to that swage line. Just about in where the rust is, look. So we'll be cutting. Well, I don't really want to cut on the swage line. I'm going to have to cut below it. This is going to have a patch. We need to cut below. We're going to hope there's no more rot above that line. I want to be cutting under that. You don't want to lose that for sure. That's definitely needed. So I'm going to go below it and scoop in when they arrive. Repair the rest of the inner of this. It's not that bad. There's a hole there. I've bashed it. It seems solid. Doesn't look like there'll be much more damage to it further round. There is a little bit of damage here. Looks like something's hit the car. I think it's just rotted. So there's some repairs to do to the inner. We're going to probably find more when we pull the back panel off, but I think there's a lot of it's intact. I'll go under and have a look. You may as well join me underneath here, finishing for the day. Let's see what we got. Tank's in the way there. I've not really been under it properly, but It's not a horror show. It's going to be local patches for this. All savable. The inner panel doesn't have to come off, so we'll locally repair it like we did with this. So that's primed, that tub's primed, it's ready for the next coat of Raptor. Well, it's first coat on this one, the others get the other coats. So that's worked out good. All factory down here. And then again, skimmed in nice here. There's a little bit there that the filler didn't scoop. Just go down like that. That's quite nice. I've not sanded it, by the way. Not much filler went in, because most of it was flush metal. Here I can't even work out where the line is. Where the hell did I join that? That's how good that one is. I thought that was the worst one. The first one was the best one. Now they're all probably about the same. Yeah, so pretty pleased with that. Once the body shop get on it, they'll do a few filler repairs at the body shop. Not much. It's going to go in for a little bit of work. I don't think I'll be painting it. It's hard to know what to do. That roof needs some attention. We'll have to work out what we do when we get there, but I want to get it driving, because the paint's not going to stop it driving. Although I don't want to drive it with primer on it, so it has to go in, even if I just take it in to do the valance blending, the sill blending, and it just blends up to here. And I'll leave it patina above that line. And then you could bit by bit restore the car, you know. It's quite doable. It doesn't have to be all stripped and dipped. You could do it panel at a time if you wanted, because it's a solid vehicle. You know, I've done a lot of the hard work, this kind of stuff. So yeah, if I'm moving it on, someone's got a good project. But what I couldn't justify, I don't think, is £5 on a paint job for this. I just can't do it. If I could raise the money, maybe, but even then, I think you'd have to really do the bay. So it's just going to stay rough and ready, but it'd be quite good fun driving it like that. We'll see. You know what I'm like, I'll end up bloody restoring a whole car. I'm going. I'll catch you on the next episode. We're done here. As you can tell, I probably sound tired. It does tire you out. I noticed since I've not been doing Cortinas for 6 months, I managed to get some energy back, drained again. So it's enjoyable. I noticed on my smartwatch, which hasn't got damaged yet, when I'm doing this, my pulse rate's quite low. In fact, actually, it's probably too low, because sometimes my pulse rate's 41, and that's a bit too low. But I checked with the doctor, and they said because you're running a lot, it's probably why. So when you start fainting, give them a call. But when I'm doing the car, it's quite low pulse rate. So see what I am now while I'm doing this. Oh, 53. So 53 BPM working on the Cortina. Not bad. Okay, it's Pete C signing off. Thanks for all the comments and the patrons. Without you, there's no channel. Super chatters as well, and the PayPalers. Everybody's out there. Appreciate that. See you soon.
Because we can't be asked.
Look, fucking falling apart. The wheels come off. Doors?
The wheel's coming off. Something's falling off it, I don't know what it is, but
It's the wing!
it's driving like a pig.
The spec going through a field, it usually does.
No, it's out of gas as well. We need to go. Someone needs to go and get some gas. I've got a petrol can.
Only pull.
Right. I'll nip it up with chisels.
Oh,
Good luck, Boris. Okay, boss. Close the doors, Ken, the main doors.
Got the seats though, yeah?
I think, Martin, things like this carry on work, but... Well, if we go back to just stuff like that. Here we go! Get off! Yeah, but I'm scared of the fucking things on there, yeah? A little raining that. No, not my back quarters. Leave them alone. They're mine. You can't do them. Hey, Bond, don't knacker the speedo. I need that.
This is it. Summer madness has started, hasn't it?
Seatbelts.
Back to the Crocs amenities for the summer madness.